Welcome to Mom's Kitchen Lessons. Today we're going to learn how to supreme a pomello. You might be wondering what a pomello is. A pomello is a cousin to a grapefruit. This is a regular sized grapefruit and this is a pomello. So if you see this in the grocery store and you think like, wow, that's a giant grapefruit, it's a little bit different. So it's a cousin to the grapefruit, but slightly different inside. So I'll show you. We're going to do a method called supreme, which you can do for grapefruits and pomellos and even oranges if you want to. The reason that we supreme the pomellos and the grapefruits is because the membranes between all of the segments are too tough for us to eat like an orange. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut off both ends of the pomello. Now you can see that it's very, very thick. Like I haven't even gotten to the meat yet. And when you're picking out a pomello, and also when you're picking out a grapefruit, you want to get one that's kind of flattened, because that means it ripened. Well, I don't know if it ripened on the tree, but it wasn't picked too early. So same with the pomello, it's kind of flattened. And also you want to get one that's really heavy for its size. This grapefruit is really heavy for its size. This feels pretty heavy for its size. And it's hard to know when they have blemishes on the outside because the inside pith is so thick that you don't really know what you're going to find once you cut this away. But let me show you the method we're going to do. So first we need to kind of find where the meat starts. Okay, I start to see it now. It's a little bit, that's how thick that was. Now let me cut the other side off and see what we got. And also you never know how thick the pith is going to be. Different ones. Okay, so that's good. Now what we're going to do is, and like I said, this is the same method for a grapefruit or a pomello. So now that you have both ends cut off and you're just having it sit like this, you're just going to take your knife around the edges and sort of follow the curve around of the fruit like that. So we're just going to go around, and we're going to go back and do this again so we can get more of this pith off, because it's, like I said, this one is actually particularly thick. This is really much thicker than I'm used to. So if you don't see the meat yet, just kind of keep doing it. You can even just pull it, you know, once you get it going, you can pull it off with your fingers. But first I'm going to cut it all the way around, and then I'll go back and deal with getting all that extra stuff off of there. Now, if you're going to be making a bowl of this and you cut too deep in like this and you want that to be, you don't want to lose too much, you can just take a spoon. I gotta find it. I have a grapefruit spoon. Sorry for all the ruckus. I have a grapefruit spoon which has these teeth on the end of it. So sometimes if I cut too deep and I take too much of the meat away, you can just get this out. This is being anal though. I mean, this is only if you really want that juice. So you can do that. You don't have to. That's not necessary. I just wanted to show you. Okay, so let me just keep cutting this around, and you can see I'm following the curve of the fruit as I go. Oh, that one I took too much. Okay, so that one I went too deep in that one. So I'm gonna get all this good meat out of here. I'm gonna scrape it out like you would when you're eating a half a grapefruit and you sort of just, you know, go between the membranes and get the meat of the fruit out. That's all that I'm doing with that. Okay, so let me just turn this over and look at it from this side and assess what I need to take off here. So this side actually is pretty good, but this top part needs to get some more of this pith off of here. So let's do this. You can cut it or you can pull it away at this point, because you know you can see what you're doing, so it's easier to pull it away. And you can see that that was a pretty big piece of fruit that we started with, and now that we've taken off all the skin and the pith, it's much smaller. So as soon as I finish doing this, I'm going to show you the grapefruit again for comparison, because in the beginning you could see how much bigger it was than the grapefruit. All right, that's pretty good. Let me just move all this out of the way. Okay, so now you can see it's like smaller than the grapefruit. Oops, there you go. Smaller than the grapefruit. So we took a lot of, that was a very thick skin. Now, this is how we're going to supreme it. You're going to find a part to start, and you want to just do it in half. It's easier to do this with just half at a time, so just find a good place where you can get between the sections and cut it in half. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be on a section. And now, let me just move things around for a bit. We're gonna work here with this bowl, and this is how I'm gonna get some of this middle. There's a lot of stuff in, well, that's okay. Sometimes it's helpful to get this out, but that's okay. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our knife and we're gonna go in, but under the membrane. And the first one, when you're starting it, you have to kind of get it. It's not gonna be the best one, the first one, because we cut this here. And so this little piece got, this is just a little piece of a section. It's not a whole section. So let's just get this out of here. But what this allows you to do is not have that membrane. So you see, this is when I put the knife under there like that, I took this whole membrane away. And this also allows you to see any seeds that you might want to get out that you don't want to have in your bowl of sections. So now that you have this exposed section, oh, I hope I didn't go out of, I might have been out of the picture, sorry. So now that you have this exposed section, you gently take your knife underneath and you just use your knife to pry it away. And then you can pull it. If it still has membrane on the outer edge, you can just pull it away. So now we have another exposed, the next section. So you put your knife underneath the membrane and cut away like that, and then pull your membrane back. Take any seeds out that you wish to take out. If you like to crunch on the seeds, then just leave them in. It's just fiber. All right, see, this is a little bit of extra membrane here. I might want to just take this off. Yeah. Okay, so this, now you put your knife under here and pry it away. So this method is called supreming. You get all the meat of the grapefruit or pomelo without any of the membrane. Well, you might have a little bit of excess on the outside like this. But that's the whole point of it, is to have sections that you can use in recipes and salads, or just to serve, like, for a fruit course. So I'm just going to keep going along like I did on the other ones. I always want to be careful when you're doing this, because you don't want your fingers to be in the way over here. So just be aware. I'm going to get some more of this membrane off here, because there's a lot of membrane here. Now, I found that it works best with this size knife as opposed to a smaller, kind of a smaller fruit or paring knife. You can try it with whatever knife you think would work good that you have in your arsenal. But for me, doing this many times with different knives, I happen to like the size of this one for getting the job done efficiently. There you go. Beautiful. And we're just going to keep going. Here's the next section. Cut along the edge. Knife goes right in. So, and again, if you accidentally get some of the meat on this membrane, you can just put it in your bowl. Comes right off. And again, it's put the knife in here to pry. Okay, this is a little bit, this had a lot of membrane on the outside, so I'm gonna have to look at the stuff in the bowl and see if I need to pull anything. Like some of these I might want to pull off. but we'll get back to that in a minute. I'm gonna get some more of this thick, this is some more of that thick membrane that didn't come off, and it makes it easier if you can take that away. Okay, so now we're gonna put the knife back in. There's a little bit of membrane there, it didn't get cut. And you know, I always say we are not perfect. We are home cooks. We do not have the facilities or the equipment of a restaurant. So we do the best we can. And the whole point of making your own food is to be in control of it and to enjoy the process. When you make your own food, your body anticipates the food coming into it and gets ready to receive the food with your digestive juices, your saliva, your mouth waters when you're doing this because you're ready to eat. And it's really a much better way for your body to process the food as opposed to just going to a fast food window or even a restaurant where you're not preparing it or seeing it prepared, and your body just all of a sudden gets this large quantity of food and it hasn't had the chance to whet its appetite. So making your own food at home really is just part of your physiology getting geared up to accept the food it's going to digest. So this is really good. It's really good to start to try to make a lot of your food yourself. And you don't have to make everything from scratch. Like I use a lot of, you know, helpers along the way if I need to, but you do the best you can and try to use as much fresh as you can. All right, I'm getting down to the last section on this half. So again, I'm coming to some thick pith here. So I'm just going to get this off. So this was the other side of where, this was one of the other side where I cut. So I'm going to go ahead and get, let me get this off of here because this doesn't have its membrane on it because it was cut away. Actually, it has like part of a membrane here. Let's see. Oh yeah. All right, let me get that off. Okay. Yeah, there's some more stuff here I could have gotten. Okay. So let's get this out of the way. There we go. Okay. So this is that other little section of from where I cut the pomello in half. So this wasn't a whole segment. I'm just going to get that out of there so I can continue on with my last segment of this half, which is actually just coincidentally a small segment. Some are small, some are big. So let's just get this last piece of membrane off of here. Okay. So now you have, you know, this is only half, but if you were going to do it, you could do the whole thing and have a bowl of fruit. And what I like to do is just go through and see if there's any, you know, you can eat this, but it's just that it's nicer to present it without, this membrane is very chewy and tough and hard to get through. So this one's really in there. I think I'm just going to have to, I'm going to have to cut that on the cutting board, I think. Yeah. So, you know, you can serve it in big pieces or you can cut them in half, however you want to do it in your bowl or however you're serving it and whatever you're using it for, whatever recipe you're using for. Now I'm going to taste it. I haven't had it yet. My mouth has been watering this whole time. I'm so ready. Oh my God. Oh, it's so sweet. This is a really sweet one. Just like with a grapefruit, you never know how sweet or sour it's going to be. Oh my goodness. So good. So the difference between these things and a grapefruit is that these are a lot bigger. They're just a different consistency, but very, very similar. A very close cousin. So I hope you give this method a try. It's called supreming your citrus. It is not hard. It might be time consuming, but it's not hard. the reward you get is you have these delicious pieces. This is like when you have lump crab meat right here. This one doesn't have any membrane on it at all. Oh my God, this is so yummy. I'm gonna put this right in my mouth just like you would a piece of, not that I would eat meat or crabs anymore, but I'm saying it's good comparison, because if you know how you feel when you get a big hunk of lump crab meat, that's what this is. So good. Okay, well, I hope you give it a try, because it is easy, although you have to kind of get the hang of the method. It's really delicious. If you've never had a pomello before, you should try one. Hope you do. Enjoy.